Greetings everyone, welcome to Chess Advanced. This game was played in Speed Chess Championship. That's been happening again, and here with the white pieces we have Jose Martinez playing against an absolute legend, 5 times world champion Magnus Carlsen, and this is going to be a really tough round. So let's see what he does. Hey, just e4 by Martinez, now just going for c6. This is the Karo Khan. We have d4 and d5. e5 now going for the advanced variation, bishop to f5, h4, and hey, just c5. So h4 definitely, that is a Tal variation, taking up a lot more space, and that's why c5 comes as a retrospect, because you have to understand h4, and then there's going to be a lot of ideas with the pawn pushes towards the king side. If you just carry on with the normal ideas of e6, you have to understand you'll have no more space left. So that's why h4 is a very annoying move. That's why just making some breathing room for your pieces. And here just decaps on c5. We have knight to c6 and bishop to d3. So all of these lines are very much important when you're playing the world's best, but also at the same time when you're playing in shorter time formats. These will definitely help you. Hey, just bishop captures. We have c captures. You could also go for queen captures, but after knight captures on e5, that comes with the tempo towards your queen, and you don't want that to happen. Maybe queen to b5 check. If you think that can get you out of trouble, just knight to d7. And after bishop to f4, the thing is that e6, b4 and b6, you have to understand those pawn pushes are not threatening anything, and somewhere along the line where your pieces are not that accurately placed, what's going to happen is your pawn pushes are not going to yield anything, and once the black develops all those pieces, black is better here, and that will be absolutely fine, and Magnus will definitely convert this to a win. But after bishop captures, we have c captures. Now knight caps on e5. Now those pawns are threatened, and these are definitely isolated pawns. So here just d4, just attacking the knight. We have knight to c6, knight to f3. Now just comes e6, knight to c3, knight to f6, and queen to d3. So developing a lot more pieces here. And what will Magnus do? Magnus just develop the bishop, saying that I'm just going to castle peacefully here. No more bloodshed maybe, but just castles. And now comes a3. So a3 is a very calm move, definitely not allowing the knight jump, but is h5 maybe an option in the future? Maybe some attacking chances, maybe developing the knight here, maybe developing the bishop here. All those could be an options, but not really right now, because that knight is covering most of these squares, and you don't have anything. So maybe a3 is a fine move. Now just comes a5, pushing those pieces, those pawns towards the queen side. Rook to b1 and just a4, not allowing b4 to be pushed. But well, what do you say? If your opponent tries to not let something happen, and if he's not that much successful towards it, you just go for it nonetheless. b4, and now just comes a caps on b3 en passant. And after b4, nonetheless, there is nothing you can do, because the thing is that en passant seems like a decent choice in this position, but just rook captures, and now rook to a7 was played. But slowly you can see that Magnus's pieces are a little bit passively placed and not that connected at all. So hey, definitely, now white is better here, but how do you actually capitalize on that advantage? Here just a4 was played, and now just comes queen to d7, bishop to e3, and just knight to e4. We have knight captures, d captures, queen captures, and rook caps on a4. So grabbing that pawn, but is it really going to help you? We have rook f to b1, and now there's a lot of pressure here. So what do? Just knight to a5 was played, defending and attacking, but now just comes to rook captures on b7 nonetheless, because hey, just sacking the exchange, and that is definitely amazing move. Because what do now? Knight caps on b7 is forced because you went with the knight to defend the pawn, and now if someone is sacked, you take it back. But rook captures on b7. Now the queen is under attack. Where do you move the queen? Queen to d8 was played, but now just comes g3, making some breathing room for your king. And here just h6 was played. Magnus doing the same, and Magnus is saying that I have the advantage, and I am up the exchange. So point wise, I am better, but maybe I can win this in the end game. But is he gonna reach the end game? That's the point. And yes, I'm talking about Magnus here, because hey, just king to h2 would have been a really fine move. You get your king to safety. If bishop to f6, now you play c6, queen to d5, queen captures, he captures, rook to d7, and your end game will be really fine, because the thing is that that pawn is an absolute monster. You're also attacking this. Bishop is jumping in next. Let me show you a few lines here. Rook to c8, you play c7, king to f8, bishop to f4. Your position is absolutely fine. You don't have a thrust like g5 in this position, and that's the problem, because my bishop, as long as it remains there, you're going to either have to sack back the exchange, and white is the one doing better. And with these kind of easy development and easy moves that you can see in the position, it just helps your time as well. So here after h6, we have c6, immediately, not going for anything crazy and not getting your king to safety, but just bishop to f6. Now Magnus plays the best move, but just bishop to f4, rook to c4, and c7, just going all the way. And the move that Magnus wants to play in this position is queen to d7. It's not at all an easy move to spot. It's a very difficult move to spot because there are a lot of things that can happen. What about rook to b8 in this position? Yes, I mean, for now you can sack back the exchange, but what do you do here? Queen to d3, then just comes queen to c6, and here if rook to b8, now just comes bishop to e7. A beautiful move because trading won't help you because bishop captures, and next, I mean, you cannot even promote that because obviously the queen is covering it. So here queen to b3, maybe just putting some extra pressure. So after this, maybe you can just jump in with the queen and try to go for that, but here just g5. And now after h captures, knight captures on g5, rook to c1 check. First bishop captures has to be played, and after queen caps on c1, now going for this king to g2, queen caps on c7, finally grabbing that. So now the position would most likely stabilize, and with perfect play it should be a draw, with white being definitely better. But here after c7, Magnus goes for queen to 8, which is the most natural move obviously in the position. Obviously you're not going to find queen to d7 unless you really have so much time on the clock, and Magnus made this move in like 1 minute, like consuming 1 minute of his time, and now he has 1 minute 16 seconds. And here just queen to b1, finding the perfect move absolutely. Bishop to e7, but now just comes knight to e5, and now Magnus is in a load of trouble because what do you do here? That pawn is just extremely strong. You cannot even sack back the exchange. If you play like really badly, I mean, your position just completely crumbles. And here rook to a4 was played. That's why just trying to maybe get that in, but now just comes king to h2, and you don't have any threats in the position. And king to h2 is not the best move in this position. The best move was actually knight to d7, but I mean, with low time on the clock, if you're not finding that, hey, king to h2, bishop to d6. Now just comes knight to d7, and here what do? The best move here is actually rook to a1. It's losing obviously, with you can see the evaluation, so I'm not kidding here, but just queen to e4, and after bishop captures, g captures, you play rook to c1, knight caps on f8, queen caps on f8, and after rook to b8, you're gonna have to part ways with your queen. Yes, the pawn won't promote, but I mean, do you really think you can hold this endgame? I mean, there is no fortress, there is nothing you can do. So after knight to d7, bishop caps on f4 was played by Magnus, trying something. Maybe Jose blunders, but here after knight caps on f8, bishop caps on c7, finally grabbing that pass pawn that's thorn in your position for so long. But now comes the idea. We have queen to h7, and now what do here? King caps on f8 was played, but now rook caps on c7, and there is nothing you can do. You're just getting checkmated. So it was on this move, on just move 34, that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, and Jose Martinez got this spectacular victory in round 4 after suffering 3 devastating losses in the first 3 games. He was not able to cope, and finally got this, definitely a boost to his confidence. But in time pressure, he was able to find better moves, and that's why he got this victory. And if you're thinking what is so amazing about what is so amazing about this position? How are you getting mated? How do you end this position? Well, there is nothing you can do. This is mate, so how do you even get out of it? There is no way that you can, and only way to prolong this game is actually just to give up all your pieces, and nobody wants to do that. If you try this, I mean, I just capture everything, and next move, whatever you do, you just get mated. So that's why Magnus realized that, and after this he just resigned the game. And I'll just tell you the result. And Magnus was able to win against Jose Martinez, but it was not at all a close match. But the thing is that 14 to 8.5 against Magnus is definitely a good score, at least considering there is roughly 300 to 350 rating points difference between these two. So yeah, thank you for watching. I'll be coming back with some of these amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.